Today is December the 14th, 2024, number 1201, built by Keith on YouTube. I'm the wealthiest person in the world, but no one has ever given me the time of day. No one's ever represented my interest, and I was literally brutally, unbelievably persecuted, kidnapped, and threatened from October the 3rd, 2011 forward by Robert D. Rose, who got away with it because he paid off so many people inside the USA government because he's been infiltrating government corporate databases since 1995. Your number one focus must be to protect my life, to demand that the USA government, which is we of and by the people, now utilize the churches around the world. And here's the proof. I'm in the chancel choir. I've been traveling for 66 years as the wealthiest person in the world, working on behalf with God my whole life. I've never violated anybody's rights. What happened to me was totally unexcusable and unforgivable because they all said, oh, we must have you drugged. We must have you confined. We must have you put in solitary confinement. We must kill you so that you cannot gift everything. Unocracy.org back to we the people. You see, I've perfected the world's last utopia, which is crime-free, drug-free, stock market-free, tax-free, political party-free, particularly no more wars, with a single use of Evote.one, which is actually expanded to be 8 new constitutional laws. You hear the word constitution? That must be immediately ratified by we the people, so we shut down the warlords and the crime lords forever. Peacemaking. The ones that commit felony crimes, which never was solutionguncontrol.com. I'm going back to that one. I'm charged with possession of a firearm that was legal for me to own, that was in my trunk because I went delivered to the military, solutionmilitary.com, which is to decentralize all the authority in your wealth back to you using reverse proxy system. That's the bottom line. The bottom line is only middle class. No one's allowed to go in debt, which means that most of you, 95% of you, are going to have to work your way out of debt. And how are you going to do that? By staying busy running my 100 non-government systems. In fact, it's thousands of new companies that are all on the who is list, now 187. And the whole focus is you are morally responsible to take care of your own problems and issues and to address whatever issue arises so that you won't be psychotic, lunatic, and revert to drugs, alcohol, sex, prostitution, human trafficking, and slave trading. Are those not the worst piracies of all time? And because everyone else gets away with it, you think it's legal. How shameful of you. I'm ashamed of every single one of my 8.2 billion God's we children. I claim you all as mine. In fact, I claim the whole world as mine, so I can give it back to you. So call us directly, debrief us, and demand that DuncanClaim.org be signed by basically any judge, but really the governors and the president should sign it so they could see that the $500 million restitution seed fund is just a tip of the old proverbial bucket. Because now you can chop it up, all the pirates' assets, once we seize Robert D. Rose, Amy Rose, Sherry Duncan, Miss Bashama, Douglas Duncan. Brian Walker apparently died, cremated. He's the one who stole with the Duncan clan, Sherry Duncan, Kyle Duncan, Matthew Duncan, who've never been addressed. They testified against me that I was a drug addict and I must be drugged forever, including with my own sister, Paige Duncan, and Doug Duncan. So there's the Duncan clan, this thing about blood thicker than water. Greatest lie of all is that somebody is going to come to protect you. Oh, wait. Someone's coming to protect you and to teach you self-salvation. That would be myself. I go by many names, but they all have Keith in it. Never was an AKA. We're going back in for the choir now. 6 p.m. service, concert. Tomorrow is Sunday, December the 15th. We have another service at 6 o'clock, and then I'm heading back up to Asheville. In fact, I may head up even earlier. But I have commitments because none of you have ever been promise keepers. You won't enforce Gods Constitution.org because you don't know about it. And because nobody is holding you personally accountable, there is no transparency. It's all about lies, stealing, hiding, and recruiting, conspiring with others. That's the basics of GodsConstitution.org, which is now SolutionManifesto.com. As we now back up in and use the churches and the civic groups as the first place to go. Then we roll out SolutionLawEnforcement.com, SolutionMilitary.com, Solution Education, Solution Housing, which is hostels. We're going back to Asheville. Call ahead and get us an appointment with Mayor Esther Mannheim and Clark Duncan of Chamber of Commerce. And then everyone can actually see that what happened to me was completely unforgivable and unforgettable because they literally silenced me, or they tried. But I have photographic memory and I've documented everything. I'm currently at a new undisclosed apartment somewhere in the southeast because I'm sick and tired of being tracked by all these criminals because you're being GPS tracked. And with my system, we're going to GPS track everybody else using the same technology that I was instrumental in developing way back in 1972, but really went extreme 1976. You can find that information at Bid on Keith in our portfolio. The greatest portfolio of profits in world history is at Keith2022.com, as we're actively hiring 300 corporate level executives who are problem solving experts, and they are here. They're in this community, even here. And we're asking for everyone to help and support us because we're basically in debt now for the first time in my entire life. I used to make $500,000 a year with Sherry Duncan back 22 years ago. The numbers all line up. We're going to transfer around 450 trillion US dollars from the criminals around the world, including all the safety deposit boxes, offshore banking, bitcoins. Everyone's going to cash out and go back to only privately held companies and local banks, all using solutionbankfraud.com and a single international database, FOIA.ONE. Follow the links and call us directly. We're not afraid of anybody, but you certainly are. December the 15th, no, today's the 15th, 14th, 2024, number 1201, and obviously we're getting ready for the second service. Support Oak Grove United Methodist Church. Call Dr. Beth Pitts. Call particularly the North Georgia Bishop Robin Deese. As we even talked to Bruce Cooper, we've been talking to Bruce Cooper, but we've really been focusing mostly on the governors and the presidents of the world and the corporate executives and the public and you, each of you. Everyone benefits forever using unocracy.org, which is the most complete replacement, comprehensive, perfected, economic, world, spiritual, includes solution, safewater.org, solution. Well, turnofflights.com really has the most massive number of patents and intellectual property to get rid of the need for fossil fuel. That means people have got to learn to be frugal. They've got to learn to share. They've got to learn to apply the Golden Rule and the Great Commission. Consider this Sermon on the Mount and the Beatitudes from KeithBrentDuncan.org. I do go by many names, but they all have Keith involved in it. I've never had an AKA, yet I've been claimed that I'm a homeless, impoverished nobody who's trying to kill people, trying to threaten people and stalk people. I'm doing the investigations on all the criminals, which you are now take over and do with solutionjudge.com, so everyone can pass judgment on everybody else, legally and peacefully, of course. And the biggest one has always been peacesummit2020.com, town hall forums. Once a month and on demand, you become your own problem-solving expert. You take matters into your own hands so that we don't have vigilantes. We don't have lunatics and kooks that kill people and are mass genocide homicidals like, well, Robert D. Rose. Even Judge Raymond Asshold Jackson out of Norfolk, Virginia, knew about the canceled Cobb County TPO 11.11171 because he had it in his hands. In fact, everybody had access to it. There was no legal reason for me to be arrested and kidnapped and persecuted from October 3rd, 2011 forward, because it's all based on Marietta Police Department report. I'm viciously robbed by Miss Pashama $40,000. And my insurance companies are worth, well, $4.3 million, but it's really worth press conferences. Who wants a piece of the pie? Who wants a piece of 450 trillion US dollars to build your own new communities? That on the basic is futurecity.life. Just recently resurrected everything I had in 1972, 1976 era. 10 minutes.